Of the Marthas. Heather has found a clan, the Marthas. She is a freshman member on probation. I have no idea how she did it. I suspect money changed hands. This is a part of her strategy to make a place for herself at school. I am supposed to be tagging along. But the Marthas, it's an expensive clan to run with. Outfits must be coordinated, crisp, and seasonally appropriate. They favor plaid for autumn and matching sweaters and clothes named after fruit, like apricot and russet apple. Winter calls for Fair Isle sweaters, lined wool pants, and Christmas hair ornaments. They haven't told her what to buy for spring. I predict skirts with geese and white blouses with embroidered ducks on the collar. I tell Heather she should push the fashion envelope just a teeny bit to be an ironic reflection of the 1950s. You know, innocence and apple pie. She doesn't think the clan leaders, Meg and Emily and Shoban, understand irony. They like rules too much. Marthas are big on helping. The name of their group came from somebody in the Bible. The original Martha clan leader became a missionary in Los Angeles. But now they follow the other Martha, Saint Marcia of the glue gun. The lady who writes books about cheery decorations. Very Connecticut, very prep. The Marthas tackle projects and perform good deeds. This is ideal Heather work. She says they run the canned food drive, tutor kids in the city, host a walkathon, a dance-a-thon, and a rocking chair-a-thon to raise money for I don't know what. They also do nice things for teachers. Gag. Heather's first Martha project is to decorate the faculty lounge for a Thanksgiving party / faculty meeting. She corners me after Spanish and begs me to help her. She thinks that the Marthas have given her a deliberately impossible job so they can dump her. I've always wondered what the staff room looks like. You hear so many rumors. Will it have a cot for teachers who need naps? Economy-sized boxes of tissues for emotional breakdowns? Comfortable leather chairs and a private butler? What about the secret files they keep on all the kids? Truth is, nothing more than a small green room with dirty windows and a lingering smell of cigarettes, even though it has been illegal to smoke on school property for years. Metal folding chairs surround a battered table. One wall has a bulletin board on it that hasn't been cleared off since Americans walked on the moon. And I look, but I can't find any secret files. They must keep them in the principal's office. I'm supposed to make a centerpiece out of waxed maple leaves, acorns, ribbon, and a mile of thin wire. Heather is going to set the table and hang the banner. She babbles on about her classes while I ruin leaf after red leaf. I ask if we can trade before I cause permanent damage to myself. Heather gently untangles me from the wire. She holds a bunch of leaves in one hand and twists the wire around the stem. 1, 2, hides the wire with ribbons, and hot glues the acorn into place. It's spooky. I hurry to finish the table. Heather, what do you think? Me, you're a decorating genius. Heather, eyes rolling. No, silly, what do you think about this? Me. Can you believe they're letting me join? Meg has been so sweet to me. She calls me every night just to talk. She walks around the table and straightens the forks. I just said, you're gonna think this is ridiculous, but I was so upset last month. I asked my parents to send me to boarding school, but now I have friends and I know how to open my locker. And she pauses and scrunches her face up. It's just perfect. I don't have to choke out an answer because Meg and Emily and Shoban march in carrying trays of mini muffins and apple slices dipped in chocolate. Meg raises an eyebrow at me. Me, thanks for the homework, Heather. You are so helpful. I scoot out the door, leaving it open a crack to watch what happens next. Heather stands at attention while her handiwork is inspected. Meg picks up the centerpiece and examines it from every angle. Meg, nice job. Heather blushes. Emily, who was that girl? Heather, she's a friend. She was the first person to make me feel at home here. Shoban, she's creepy. What's wrong with her lips? It looks like she's got a disease or something. Emily holds out her watch. The watch band matches the bow in her hair. 5 minutes. Heather has to leave before the teachers arrive. Part of being on probation means that she's not allowed to take credit for her work. I hide in the bathroom until I know Heather's bus is left. The salt in my tears feels good when it stings my lips. I wash my face in the sink until there is nothing left of it. No eyes, no nose, no mouth. A slick nothing. Nightmare. I see it in the hallway. It goes to Meriwether. It is waking up. It is walking with Aubrey cheerleader. It is my nightmare and I can't wake up. It sees me. It smiles and winks. Good things my lips are stitched together or I'd throw up. Second marking period. Closet space. My parents commanded me to stay after school every day for extra help from teachers. I agreed to stay after school. I hang out in my refurbished closet. It is shaping up nicely. The first thing to go is the mirror. It is screwed to the wall, so I cover it with a poster of Maya Angelou that the librarian gave me. She said Miss Angelou is one of the greatest American writers. The poster was coming down because the school board banned one of her books. She must be a great writer if the school board is afraid of her. Maya Angelou's picture watches me while I sweep and mop the floor, while I scrub the shelves, while I chase spiders out of the corners. I do a little bit of work every day. It's like building a fort. I figure Maya would like it if I read in here, so I bring a few books from home. Mostly I watch the scary movies playing on the inside of my eyelids. It is getting harder to talk. My throat is always sore, my lips raw. When I wake up in the morning, my jaws are clenched so tight I have a headache. Sometimes my mouth relaxes around Heather, if we're alone. Every time I try to talk to my parents or a teacher, I sputter or freeze. What's wrong with me? It's like I have some kind of spastic laryngitis. I know my head isn't screwed on straight. I want to leave, transfer, warp myself to another galaxy. I want to confess everything, hand over the guilt and mistake and anger to someone else. There is a beast in my gut. I can hear it scraping away at the inside of my ribs. Even if I dump the memory, it will stay with me, staining me. My closet is a good thing, a quiet place that helps me hold these thoughts inside my head where no one can hear them. Job day. In case we forgot that we're here to get a good foundation so we can go to college, live up to our potential, get a good job, happily ever after, and go to Disney World. We have job day. Like all things, high school, it starts with a test of my desires and my dreams. Do I, A, prefer to spend time with a large group of people? B, prefer to spend my time with a small group or close friends? C, prefer to spend time with family? D, prefer to spend time alone? Am I A, a helper? B, a doer? C, a planner? D, a dreamer? If I were tied to railroad tracks and the 3:15 train to Rochester was ready to cut a path across my middle, would I A, scream for help? B, ask my little mice friends to chew through the ropes? C, remember that my favorite jeans were in the dryer and were hopelessly wrinkled? D, close my eyes and pretend nothing was wrong? 200 questions later, I get my results. I should consider a career in A, forestry, B, firefighting, C, communications, D, mortuary science. Heather's results are clearer. She should be a nurse. It makes her jump up and down. Heather, this is the best. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'll be a candy striper at the hospital this summer. Why don't you do it with me? I'll study real hard in biology and go to SCU and get my RN. What a great plan. How could she know this? I don't know what I'm doing in the next 5 minutes and she has the next 10 years figured out. I'll worry about making it out of 9th grade alive. Then I'll worry about a career path. First Amendment. Mr. Next storms into class, a bull chasing 33 red flags. We slide into our seats. I think for sure he's going to explode, which he does, but in an unpredictable, faintly educational way. Immigration, he writes it on the board. I'm pretty sure he spelled it right. Mr. Neck, my family has been in this country for over 200 years. We built this place, fought in every war from the first one to the last one, paid taxes and voted. A cartoon thought bubble forms over the heads of everyone in the class. Will this be on the test? Mr. Neck, so tell me why my son can't get a job. A few hands creep skyward. Mr. Neck ignores them. It is a pretend question. One he is asked so he can give the answer. I relax. This is like when my father complains about his boss. The best thing to do is to stay awake and blink sympathetically. His son wanted to be a firefighter, but didn't get the job. Mr. Neck is convinced that this is some kind of reverse discrimination. He says we should close our borders so that real Americans can get the jobs they deserve. The job test said that I would be a good firefighter. I wonder if I could take a job away from Mr. Neck's son. I tune out and focus on my doodle, a pine tree. I've been trying to carve a linoleum block in art class. The problem with the block is that there is no way to correct mistakes. Every mistake I make is frozen in the picture, so I have to think ahead. Mr. Neck writes on the board, debate. America should have closed her borders in 1900. That strikes a nerve, several nerves. I can see kids counting backwards on their fingers, trying to figure out when their grandparents or great-grandparents were born, when they came to America, if they would have made the neck cut. When they figure out they would have been stuck in a country that hated them, or a place with no schools, or a place with no future, their hands shoot up. They beg to differ with Mr. Neck's learned opinion. I don't know where my family came from, someplace cold, where they eat beans on Thursday, hang their wash on the line Monday. I don't know how long we've been in America. We've been in this school district since I was in the first grade. That must count for something. I start an apple tree. The arguments jump back and forth across the room. A few suck-ups quickly figure out which side Mr. Neck is squatting on, so they fight to throw out the foreigners. Anyone whose family immigrated in the last century has a story to tell about how hard their relatives work, the contributions they make to the country, the taxes they pay. A member of the archery club tries to say that we're all foreigners and we should give the country back to the Native Americans, but she's buried under disagreement. Mr. Neck enjoys the noise until one kid challenges him directly. Brave kid. Maybe your son didn't get that job because he's not good enough, or he's lazy, or the other guy was better than him, no matter what his skin color. I think the white people who have been here for 200 years are the ones pulling down the country. They don't know how to work. They've had it too easy. The pro-immigration forces erupt in applause and hooting. Mr. Neck, you watch your mouth, mister. You're talking about my son. I don't want to hear any more from you. That's enough debate. Get your books out. Mr. Neck is back in control. Showtime is over. I try to draw a branch coming out of a tree trunk for the 315th time. It looks so flat. A cheap, cruddy drawing. I have no idea how to make it come alive. I'm so focused, I don't know at first that David Petrakis, my lab partner, has stood up. The class stops talking. I put my pencil down. Mr. Neck, Mr. Petrakis, take your seat. David Petrakis is never in trouble. He is the kid with perfect attendance records who helps the staff chase down bugs in the computer files or report cards. I chew a hangnail on my pinky. What is he thinking? Has he flipped? Finally cracked under the pressure of being smarter than everyone? David, if the class is debating, then each student has the right to say what's on his mind. Mr. Neck, I decide who talks in here. David, you opened a debate. You can't close it because it's not going your way. Mr. Neck, watch me. Take your seat, Mr. Petrakis. David, the Constitution does not recognize different classes of citizenship based on time spent living in the country. I am a citizen with the same rights as your son or you. As a citizen and as a student, I'm protesting the tone of this lesson as racist, intolerant, and xenophobic. Mr. Neck, sit your butt in that chair, Petrakis, and watch your mouth. I'm trying to get a debate going in here, and you people turned it into a race thing. Sit down or you're going to the principal. David stares at Mr. Neck, looks at the flag for a minute, then picks up his books and walks out of the room. He says a million things without saying a word. I make a note to study David Petrarchus. I have never heard a more eloquent silence.